America. This is Kev from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense, and I couldn't make sense out of that. For some reason, YouTube kept crashing, so I switched devices, and hopefully that'll solve the problem. I'm on the network now instead of on my Wi-Fi, but we'll see. Right about now, I think maybe a gremlin might be playing around in the internets. So let's try this again. And here, I'm glad I logged on early to get started because yeah, that would have made us late. So now I'm pretty much on time. So welcome to the show. If this is your first time checking out the show, hit the like button and please share my videos, all that good stuff. Some people chiming in, they say, hey, Kev, good morning. Oh, hey, check it out. I heard you moved from Thailand, Dallas. You said you moved somewhere else. I forget where you said. I caught it when I was rereading the messages from the live show the other night. And I was like, oh, you moved somewhere else. So it sounds like you're happy where you are. So good stuff. And then somebody else I just saw, I caught something I did not know is Chrissy. And she joins the show all the time. And I think you referenced PA or Pittsburgh the other day. Are you from right up the street? Are you kidding me? I could throw a rock from here to Pittsburgh. Dang on it. And if you are, let's go Steelers. Now, let's get to some serious business because we got a lot to talk about today. You saw the title. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna bluff, Putin fart around, sell you wolf tickets, try to make you seem like something's bigger than it is, and I'm just pushing nothing but hyperbole. No, I'm dead serious, man. Everybody needs to see this live stream tonight so you can be educated on what they're doing and what they're trying to do. So it sounds as if everybody can hear me. Before we get into it, please, like I said, feel free to chime in through the chat. Feel free to participate in the super chat. If you want to bypass the super chat and go straight to me and support my channel, Cash App and PayPal are options. I even got Zelle, y'all. I even got Zelle. I don't even know what that is, but I got Zelle. People was like, you got Zelle? I was like, no, I don't own no gazelles. What does it mean? This is America, dang on it. So yeah, found out about some Zelle, got all of that mess. You ain't got no excuse to be talking about something. Oh man, I would, you ever have one of them beggars to get you and you're not ready for it because you're thinking, they're limited in their transactional resources. Hey brother, you got $5 I can borrow. Oh man, I don't carry cash, brother. Oh, no problem. I got a little cash thing. You can go ahead and do this on the phone, man. Just let me see your card real quick. You sitting like, oh man, you one of them advanced beggars. That's what you are. You one of them modern beggars. Remember the old days? Oh, okay, never mind, man. You ain't got no cash. Not no more. Oh, well, you can cash app me, bro. I'm like, well, if I could cash app you, why you got a phone and you begging for money? Why you got a phone? That's what I want to know. Now, I'm sorry I got totally distracted on a mini stand-up right there. But feel free, like I said, to participate in all of that good stuff. Now, with no further ado, let's go ahead and get the party started, man, because, yeah, we need to talk about some things. Somebody said, had to refresh in order to see the stream. Yeah, I know. It was acting up. I had to go ahead and start the whole stream over again. New title and all. So I feel you. I feel your pain. All right, let's get it started so we can hopefully get through this. Somebody said, go Brown. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Real gorilla. Gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorillas in here. So, guys, before we get into the shenanigans that's going on around the country and the globe, actually, because the problem we're going to be talking about and identifying is not limited to just the U.S. This right here is really a part of a bigger global strategy when it comes down to controlling people's minds, controlling our speech, all of that stuff. These things need to happen for very, very powerful people to acquire power and to remain in power. Free speech, free thought, all that stuff is the greatest threat to them. But because I know they don't like Kev and Kevin's Corner, that's why I got this number for y'all. So for all of those who've been watching my channel and say, Kev, not getting not getting notifications. Well, got this service. Oh, and I forgot to check today to see if I'm able to send out the group message yet. I will check on that. But nonetheless, if you want to join that, it doesn't cost you anything. All you got to do is just text the word join to this number, which is 1-877-931 2396. Please, I wish you all would do that. Right now, I think our standings is at like 197 folks. And I'm thinking all the folks that watch the live stream, I should see like 1,000 or so in one night. So if you haven't done that, please, please, please do that. And also, please hit the like button. I'll be sad, y'all. I'll be sad at the end of the night. I'll see 500 likes with 2,500 views. I would hope that everybody, and see, those that don't know how YouTube work, the like button is extremely important. You hit the like button, it jogs the algorithms. You know, more you like, the more it sends out messages and saying, hey, everybody, yo, Kev is on a live show. Y'all might want to check him out. So please, please, please hit that like button. Now, with no further ado, I hate to sound like I'm going spiritual on y'all for a minute, but whether you're a Christian or not, some of these things would apply to you. And I'm sure if you're just a common sense person with some wisdom, you'll understand the meaning of these statements in quotes, even though they might come from a spiritual source that you might not believe in. But it applies to what we're talking about tonight, because we're going to be focusing on two things, y'all. That's right. Wisdom and knowledge. All right, class. Can anybody tell me the difference between wisdom and knowledge? No? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it so I can break this mess down. So now, if the government controls speech, then they control knowledge. Now, what do I mean by that? We've seen through the last 6 to 8 years that the government controlling a lot of speech, suppressing speech, coming up with new definitions, mis and disinformation, have led so many people astray to this day. I was talking to some old peeps of mine, and they're dropping out narratives that have been debunked and been revealed years ago that it was a lie, it was a hoax, and all of this stuff. But yet it lingers in their head. The damage has been done, see? And that's the problem with it. We're fighting against folks who are coming up with terms like dis and misinformation, but they're the source of the dis and misinformation. And they're using their social status and their position of power to gather a lot of support. And so people assume that how evil could our elected officials be? Surely they're not up to that. How evil could the CIA be and the FBI be? How evil could they be? How evil? You're telling me all the news networks is in on this? That's what you see. When you make something sound so grandiose and unbelievable, but yet it's happening, then people would probably be less likely to believe it. So they call us conspiracy theorists. They say we're tinfoil hat wearers. Well, guess what, y'all? Tonight, go get that hat. Go get that tinfoil hat. Because right here, check this out. Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of what? Knowledge. It's always beautiful to see somebody get red pilled and they sit back almost mad. It's like converting to Christianity. When you're sitting back saying to yourself, man, I'm so glad I met Christ. I was thinking life was one way and woke up and realized it's another way. And I'm so glad I'm able to see, the light. Well, same thing politically. When somebody have been voting a certain way and listening to the fake news and they've been getting bombarded by all these fake dang on narratives, and then one day, for some reason, the light bulb kicks on, they get mad almost at the folks who deceived them. That should be our goal, is to make everybody who watch my videos and everybody who listen to you all talk to them, make them wake up so they're mad at the people who deceived them. Because by deceiving these folks, these people are going to be led straight into a big fat problem, all because they lack knowledge. So knowledge is simply knowing what's happening, okay? But whoever controls that knowledge has an advantage. Yeah, or whoever could silence the other person's knowledge of something also have the advantage. When you create a scenario where you're the only source of knowledge, that could be a problem. So my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Boy, I tell you, that applies when I look at the black community. Holy moly. I happen to be black, if you haven't noticed. And I sit back and I can see that because I grew up in a black environment in an urban city. And I say, boy, the lack of knowledge is killing them there, killing them. But that's probably why Democrats keep their schools raggedy and make sure they're not able to go and gather alternative knowledge. Stupid brain is easy to control. All right, wait, where we going next? Check it out. See, all right, so y'all hear that? My people, look at it. I'm preaching a sermonette. So check this out. Proverbs. Wisdom is the principal thing. So wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So now, y'all, we building, we scaffolding, y'all. So you might have knowledge, but guess what else you need to slap on that mess? You need some wisdom. Don't be talking about I'm baking a cake, and I get to that cake and it's dry, and I'm like, a little dry, man. Where's you ain't got nothing on the top, no glaze, nothing. Okay, I thought maybe the sugar was invisible on the top. I thought the icing was invisible, but it's horrible. Slap some icing on top of that cake. That's what I want. So now if you're walking around with knowledge, but without wisdom, that could be a problem. So folks, just because you tell them something, they might not understand what you're saying. You know how many people we told that the laptop hoax was real? They knew we told them. They had the knowledge, but they didn't get the understanding or the wisdom to apply the understanding. So where we going next, y'all? Ooh, I'm taking y'all on a mini church run. And trust me, we ain't going to be here talking about that all night because it's going somewhere. So now what is the difference between wisdom and knowledge? Well, I'm about to tell y'all. All right, knowledge is defined as facts. Now, we drop this all the time when we're talking to liberals. We're talking to radicals and all that stuff. But that is exactly why they get mad. You accept and receive facts and knowledge one way or another. If you have a closed mind, you're going to get mad. You're going to shut people down. You're going to say, you know what? You're a fascist, racist, white nationalist, xenophobe. Now, if I'm the evil person trying to keep these people in darkness and ignorant, that's the response I want from them. I don't want them to stop for a second and listen to logic and reasoning. I don't want that. I want you to block these folks trying to tell you something and give you some knowledge right at the door front. Don't let them come in. Now that could apply both ways. Church folks be saying, don't let the devil come in and talk to you in your ear. Well, that's true too. See, but once you see the devil, you can never unsee the devil. If you talk to him, it's because you want to. It's not because you got tricked. See, that's the difference. See, so once you see a whole bunch of what's going on with the media, with the FBI, with all these big tech companies, you can't unsee it. With the Democrats, you cannot unsee that. So therefore, as soon as they come to me, I'm using knowledge, wisdom, all of that stuff to say, based on what I know about the nature, unfortunately, of that particular party and the proven track record, I'm skeptical. I'm willing to listen and have a conversation with you, but I'm skeptical. Okay. So what they want, though, they don't even want that. When you go to talk to a radical liberal, they don't even want them to say, I'm willing to listen to you, but I'm skeptical. They want them to call you white nationalist, fascist, xenophobe, and go, la, 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 I can't hear you. That's what they want. So here it is. Knowledge is defined by facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education and theoretical and practical understanding of a subject. Now, that's just a basic human definition of what knowledge is, but that don't make you wise. Y'all saw Ketanji John Jackson. Yeah, here she is, a Supreme Court judge, but don't know what no woman is, y'all. And the Democrats do that all the time, sending mixed signals when it comes to them supposedly being so smart and knowledgeable. You got scientists up there talking about, well, yes, there's climate change and it's a fact. What is a woman? That's hard to tell. There was some debate out there. No. If you lie about that, then you're not smart. If you lie about that, you're compromised in almost every other area. So you can have knowledge, but boy, you can still be stupid. We all know one of those. All right, now wait a minute. Where we going next with this, y'all? Because see, I'm about to bring it all together. I'm about to tie it all. I don't leave y'all hanging no loose ends. I'm going to tie this mess down. So knowing something is the start. That's a great start, which if people don't start with that, they're already doomed. You need to acquire some type of knowledge about what the heck these people are doing to you, what the world is doing, what's going on. When people go, I don't want to hear what's going on. I want to be informed. I'm not into politics. Then you are like a lamb being brought to the slaughter. I don't need to know what that noise is in that barn over there going, zing, zing. I don't need to question why all the sheep are going in and never coming out. But a lot of wool is coming out. Maybe they're all getting haircuts. That's what could be happening in there. If you're that person, then hey, you'll find out right when they're about to go. But if you got enough common sense to go, maybe I need to start figuring out what's going on because it could impact my life. So knowing something is the start, but wisdom is applying what you know. That's the difference. We can tell a whole bunch of our liberal friends, man, they're deceiving you, they're lying, they're doing all of this stuff. And they can say, thanks for all the information, which I saw people do that. When Trump was running, I dropped so much knowledge on folks to the point where some of them tapped out and said, hey, man, I feel you, dude. That makes sense, honestly, but I'm still voting against Trump. Now, what you've done is you've allowed whatever stubbornness or whatever's in you to say, even though you gave me all the knowledge, I'm not going to apply it. I just sat here and confessed. What you just said made sense, but I'm going to do the opposite. So you can know something, but that doesn't mean you're going to apply what you know. If you know you got a chocolate eating problem and a doctor said you eat one more piece of chocolate, your feet going to have to get cut off from sugar diabetes, and you decide I'm going to get a job at the chocolate factory. That's not wise. You know you got a chocolate problem. Don't go up in there talking about, so I'm going to be working right here on the line. So I'm the guy that needs to test all the chocolate that comes out of there. That's not wise. You're setting yourself up for failure. This is what I mean when I say all of those folks in liberal cities who get mad when they see all these illegal immigrants get brought straight in to their neighborhood and they get on camera. This ain't right. This ain't right. Well, you know it ain't right. You got the knowledge, but guess what you do? You go right back out and vote for another one. That's not wisdom. You're sitting back like, I know these politicians ain't no good. They keep tripping and they always bringing these folks and they don't care nothing about us. Let me go out and run it right back and vote for another one that got the same political beliefs. So people have to apply what they know. It's a combo, y'all. They work hand in hand, man. So wisdom. Now, this is deep before we get started because we're about to get into it. Without wisdom, now get this, y'all. I'm getting philosophical on y'all. Without wisdom, knowledge is either useless or what? Destructive. Now, the Democrats, boy, they use that to their advantage. They get folks out there and throw them in education and pump them up, and they have infiltrated our institutions, the educational institutions, and they make sure they give these people a whole bunch of knowledge that's useless. They sitting back like I'm in gender studies. You know what? Now I'm in social justice 101. Now I'm in transgender 15,000 genders 207. You go through all of that and you come out thinking you're smart and you got some knowledge. And guess what you end up doing? One, that knowledge is useless. Number two, it becomes destructive. Now you got folks running around fascists. You know what? Kids should be able to do this. And you know what? We got the right to attack you people because you're Hitler, you're Nazis. Now what happens is that knowledge becomes destructive. And the Democrats prey on people. They set this all up. Let's go ahead, give them our false knowledge, our knowledge that is absolutely useless to them, and then have them use that to become destructive because these young boys and girls don't have the wisdom to see what they're doing. They don't got the wisdom to understand that what you're trying to teach me about and educate me ain't gonna do nothing for me. You're about to set me up to be chasing my tail forever, trying to track down a smidge of racism or something. So y'all got that? Now, did we already we warmed up now? Everybody stretched out? Because we're about to really go ahead and get into it now. See, because it's all gonna come together. So thus controlling speech, y'all. Now, why is controlling speech important? Because speech pretty much is the only way you can tell what somebody's thinking. It's how you convey your ideas. See, what happens is it starts off in your head, and then you got to come to a decision like, do I say this out loud? You ever had one of the moments? See, all of us have been there where something in our head didn't match what came out of our mouth. Somebody catch you, and you in a rush, and you just simply tell them, hey, how you doing? And they go, oh, man, I'm glad you asked. Whew. Boy, now in your head, you're going, I don't care. I didn't ask you that question so I can hear about your woes. I'm trying to hurry up and get to where I got to go to. And they don't have the social skills to see that. Where they're telling you, you go, yep, okay. See, these are the I'm ready to go cues. Yep, okay, all right. Hey, look, I feel you. Hey, stuff, it is what it is, man. Okay. And in your head, you want to just say, shut the up. Don't you see I'm trying to go? You think I want to sit here and talk to you the whole time? So now we got to either say, do I want to share my thoughts and ideas or don't I? But what you don't want is when somebody tell you you're not allowed to say what you want to say, believe what you want to say, or convey your ideas and stuff like that. You start suppressing speech and controlling speech, then you start controlling ideas. And that's the goal. So with that being said, y'all, what does it all lead to? Well, let's see. Here's the result of a lack of knowledge and wisdom. This man's from the WHO. People who are walking around asleep right now, they don't know what's going on or know bits and pieces of what's going on, but they don't want to apply the wisdom to it, will end up right here. If you don't know what these people are up to, you'll find out too late. Listen to this guy.
Actually, people all across the world are thirsty for freedom. They want their own officials to be accountable, and to respond in front of the public. So the alternative that was presented to us with this pandemic, this was the best opportunity for some elites that are not elected by anybody, who are not accountable to anybody.
Whoa, y'all. Oh, man. Now, see, I bet you that kind of messed up everything because, see, over there, they want everybody who attends that to go in there and talk about, all right, we're all on one accord and we're all a part of this one diabolical evil plan to suppress the whole world and allow us to control everything. And this guy calls everybody out and say, I saw throughout that pandemic, you elitists over here that aren't elected in any countries, but y'all saw this as an opportunity, not for the people, as they always lie and say, it's for the people. And really, it was for them to acquire more power and more control. And they're talking about the people, if they say certain things or if they don't believe what we tell them or do what we tell them, then, it's going to hurt them in the long run. So really, it's for the people. What that is a false way of acquiring power for yourself, but trying to make it seem like it's justified because you're lying about the whole outcome of whatever you're suggesting. It won't benefit the people. It will benefit you. Here's some other practical applications that you can see it in. Everyone listen, we're bringing illegal immigrants over here because of a better life and they, have been kicked out of their country and this and that. And we have to open it up because the Statue of Liberty and all of that stuff. And it has nothing to do with the Statue of Liberty and all that stuff. The real motive is they want more people here so that they can acquire votes from these people. They can change the demographics. And then here's another fake one. Black people, we need to go ahead and get rid of all of those IDs because you guys have a hard time going to get them. Sometimes you don't even know how to use the internet. You can't find out where the BMV is. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Real motive. We need to get rid of IDs so all of our new precious illegal immigrants, when they get here, they can go in and vote and help us stay in power. You see how that works? But they can't tell you that, so they got to make it seem like it's for the people. So this guy calls it out. Y'all lockdowns and all these suggestions were not for the people. It was for y'all.
To pretty much hijack. Day by day, month by month, year by year, more and more of our rights, more and more of our assets, because we see that happening right now in many countries. You saw what happened in Canada, for example,
when
the truckers protested against Trudeau.
The man chicken.
He ordered that their bank accounts be blocked. And that happened. And at that point, we did not even have, they did not even have in Canada, the digital currency.
Whoa. Now, do you think a lot of Americans walking around blind, just walking around with stuff on their face and going and say, stick me some more, please? You think they knew what was going on up in Canada? You think they was able to interpret that properly? That was a test run of how to shut down a movement or any type of resistance? You think they were able to make the connections of why they were able to do that up there in Canada? I mean, they don't have a Second Amendment there, or in Australia, or in China. You think they were aware and knowledgeable about how the rest of the world was controlling their people or they're just walking around on their cell phones in their own bubbles and stuff like that. Do you think they were able to make the connection of how the man chicken used all of these resources to sweat these people into submission by controlling their money? You think they knew that Joe Biden was the one that contacted the man chicken and suggested, this is how you should shut that down? You think they were aware of that? Do you think they're able to make the connection that if they did it there and our leaders did not chastise or speak out or condemn that, then that most likely means that our leaders in control currently are okay with it and might apply to us? Do you think a lot of Americans walking around knew that and able to make that connection? We did, and guess what they did? Tried to censor us, y'all, just like the man chicken did. So this guy's on it, and you know they over there with their butts tight like, who is this Pop-Tart? They're calling us out.
Imagine what will happen when on your phone you will have the digital wallet, the digital currency, the digital certificate. So we saw what happened.
What?
And now just imagine in your worst case scenario what will happen.
Like what?
If we allow the WHO to have so much power over our states, over our governments,
Yeah.
our elected officials,
Okay.
and even over our judiciary. Because over the years, over the centuries, I would say, when the modern state was developed, we had the so-called separation of power in the state. You had what we have, the executive power, legislative power,
Right.
and the judicial power.
That's how it should be.
And the reason why the power was split among three different powers in the state
Tell us.
was that the individual rights
Okay.
of every person be protected, be safeguarded. So in case the executive power or the legislative power is abusing your rights, you can go in front of the judicial power.
Yeah. Now, just like I was just talking about knowledge, it's a lot of church folks out there going, I love the Lord. I know the word of God. It's the bread of life. And yet they also know that in the book of Revelations, it talks about a one world government that will control people's speech, their thoughts. They will demand that they have a one world currency, and for every man to buy or sell, he'll have to have the mark of the beast. And these people who concede to him will have to be globalists and have to be willing to join this one world government. Now, this guy right here sounds like he's not on that. Trump wasn't on it. But guess what? Trump was a white nationalist, racist, white, xenophobe, homophobe, and all of that stuff. That white nationalist, racist, xenophobe, homophobe supported Christian values. He supported keeping our butts out of a one world government. All the things that the folks who have the knowledge about what's going to happen in the last days, but yet didn't have the wisdom to see that the man who was trying to keep us from going in that direction was placed right there as a cork to stop it. So they didn't apply the wisdom. They know what's coming. The Bible says in the last days, you could know that. But then when it happens right in front of your face and you see the party that you're voting for is trying to push us in that direction, but all of a sudden you go out and vote against the guy who's trying to stop it. So, I mean, you just got scriptures for nothing. You know scriptures for absolutely nothing. Okay? You see these folks trying to push the IRS. You see that. You see them trying to set it up where they can get their hands on our money and control us through that currency. People in the church especially burns me up because I'm going, you know they're going to use this in the last days. You know, if you really want somebody to tap out and say, all right, fine, I won't talk about it no more. Fine, you know what, I'm not protesting. Mess with their money. Mess with their resources and watch them go, I'm going to be quiet because I need to live. That's what I need. I need food to eat. And yet these are the people who wants to go in that direction. They want to go in that direction. These Democrats are globalists. They are all over there snoozing with these people. They should all be over there talking just like this guy's talking. Joe Biden should be up in there like, no, we're not going to join this mess and we're not giving up our sovereignty. But no, not him. He's up there either sleeping or nodding in agreement. Unreal. Go ahead, finish wherever you're from, man.
Or the Constitutional Court to challenge a law or to challenge an administrative decision. Now imagine what would happen if all of this decisional power would be passed over to WHO.
Whoa.
Can they stay in court? Can the head of WHO justify his decision, for example, to proclaim a pandemic across the
whoever this guy is, I love him already. You know they don't want to hear talk like that. That's why the evil emperor, when Trump left that one time, said, Trump is an anomaly that must disappear in 2020. Because imagine if we keep giving power to the WHO, we keep giving power to the G7, all of that stuff. You think they care about all of the individual citizens in all these different countries who their leaders are selling them out and going up there and colluding with these evil folks to give them power? You think that if Joe Biden and all them talking, we're giving more money to the WHO and we're going to accept this national vaccination pass and we're going to do all of that? That dude's selling us out. These folks are in on it when it comes down to these folks wanting more power. You think that Biden would be opposed to forcing all American citizens to have a certain pass to be able to travel internationally? This man was the same man who was okay with saying, you know what? Let your job fire you, kick you out of the military if you don't want to do this. You understand that? All right. This was the same group of people who was okay with that. So you don't think that they would be okay with allowing these folks to come up with any pandemic they want? They could come up with climate change as an existential threat. And if you disagree in your own sovereign country, you can't hold them accountable. These folks are off somewhere and wherever. A whole bunch of group of unelected officials making choices, but you can't challenge them in court. Who are you going to challenge? You get our dumb leaders sign over that type of power to these people. Then all of a sudden, when the folks get mad about it, they can't go after the WHO. They can't go after all of that. We sitting there going, well, man, who do I sue for this? This is unbelievable. And this guy's calling it out. Thank you, man.
The world in front of a judge because they can't right now.
Right.
So the biggest threat that we are facing right now
is what?
Is a threat to our national sovereignty, to the supremacy of our Constitution, and implicitly, unfortunately, to our fundamental rights.
What? Y'all hear that? To our fundamental rights. Now, y'all hear all that knowledge that I just dropped in that short statement in addressing the WHO? Now, you guys are smart. Y'all sitting here listening to me and y'all been hearing this stuff. Your gut's been telling you that this is the agenda of these people. This very smart guy on the inside called that mess straight out just now. Now, even though all this knowledge is acceptable to people, people will walk around every day on their phones, on TikTok and on all that stuff, Instagram, and they'll wake up one day and all this will be implemented. We've been watching them put these things in place now for well over 8 years. And Zuri called it out decades ago, laid it out beautifully. It's amazing to see people walk right into what they know is a problem. When we are aware of what's happening and we got the wisdom to say, avoid that, but you're watching people walk right into it, it's almost like watching a movie. When you watch a movie and you know what's about to happen to the actor. But remember, it's a movie. The actors don't know. And you're sitting there going, don't you open that door. You don't hear that theme music. You already know something. What do you think that growling is? What do you think it? Don't open that. You know what's going to happen, but you're watching it and saying, boy, nothing I can do. The actors are ignorant to what's going on in there. That's how I feel as I watch Americans right now. When I watch them not know what the current Department of Justice is doing, with all of these institutions that we fund what our tax dollars are doing, I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm saying, you guys are the actors. We're watching this and I'm saying, don't you realize when you vote for these people, you're voting for your own enslavement. You're voting for your own rights to be rolled back. When you ignorantly go down there and support this crap, you're walking right through the door. Unbelievable. And so I want y'all, before we start breaking down this latest judgment about freedom of speech, to remember this conversation from this guy on CNN as we listen to the judge's assessment of what the Biden administration has been up to and all of the other organizations in our government. Now, remember, this guy's supposed to be the news, y'all. He's supposed to be fighting for freedom and stuff, but he's going to have a problem with the judge's decision. So after you listen to this, remember his problem, and then we'll go through the judge's decision.
This is a conservative ideology that clearly comes through in this decision. It's a conservative political ideology, right? We saw some of the quotes questioning vaccines, questioning masks, conservative talking points. But the ruling itself is the opposite of judicial conservatism. This is one of the most aggressive, far-reaching rulings you'll ever see. What this judge is purporting to do is to micromanage, really, the day-to-day interactions between essentially the entire executive branch.
Okay, y'all hear that? Yeah, see, this guy don't like that judge's, assessment and his ruling. So we're going to have to get knowledge for ourselves. Because, see, you know what? This is going to see how I'm tying it all together. If you watch just CNN and you're getting your knowledge from them and you don't know what's really in the judge's ruling, then guess what? You're ignorant. Full-blown 100% ignorant. This man is trying to keep you from knowing what is in it. So therefore, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I'm going to show you why this man is mad. And we're going to see if his anger is justified based on what the judge is saying happened. But ignorant people would never know that if they stop right here just listening to him.
All these agencies that are listed as defendants and the leading social media companies. Yeah. And in the actual temporary injunction, the judge basically says, you're not allowed, administration, to talk to these social media companies about any protected free speech except for cybersecurity threats, national security threats, criminal threats. But where's the line?
What's the problem with that? That's how it should be. That's how it's set up. The government should not be interacting with all of these individual companies and suggesting how they can do things that will restrict our freedom of speech. But you got a network, for whatever reason, mad at that ruling. So now this guy is opposed to the decision of the judge. Now he could stand on that position if you don't know why the judge made his decision. You might just stop right there and think, I'm going to listen to the summary of this paid propagandist right here. I'm going to listen to the summary and take his word for it, because surely this judge must be right wing. He must be anti whatever. But as we sit back and listen to what the judge said, I want you to see, okay, if it lines up to how this propagandist is saying the judge is.
Who's going to police this? This federal judge.
Now, this man right here, I sped up his voice. He's the one that dissects this and breaks it down so we can all enjoy it. I'm about to spoon feed y'all. I'm about to spoon feed y'all the summary of all the things our own government, the Biden administration, along with many other areas of government, was doing right up under our noses. Now, we might have knew it was 1, 2, 3, 4 agencies. Wait until you hear the vast amount of agencies that were censoring our speech. Y'all ready for this? Y'all gonna be experts, man. We all deserve law degrees after tonight. So shout out to this man right here. I sped up his voice, so don't think he's a chipmunk, but I just want to make sure we get through it. Okay, so let's find out what the Biden administration and all of them been up to and why the man from CNN is mad about the judge's ruling.
Issues a major ruling on July 4th, a very American ruling, preserving and protecting free speech against government censorship and government exportation of their censorship to big tech companies.
Okay.
One example was when Facebook got messages from the FBI telling them to censor and delete information. Same thing we saw with Twitter. Same thing we saw with YouTube. All sorts of government bureaucrats were sending emails from the White House to Twitter individuals telling them, delete this, delete that.
So wait a minute. That don't sound like what the guy from CNN was just describing, y'all. He said that the judge is just trying to micromanage. So why then were people from the White House and the FBI and all of that sending emails over to Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and telling them to delete stuff? Were these all terrorists that they were telling them to delete? That's what I'm wondering. I mean, surely you would only tell them to do that if they fell under the guidelines of what the man from CNN said. He's saying that the only reason you can reach out to him is if it's because, well, yeah. So was that the situation? That's the only situation it should be, right? But here you go.
Government is not allowed to do that, all right? You can't outsource your censorship by just sending emails to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube and Google to suppress information that you don't like. And the government's response was, well, we're not actually doing the censorship here. We're just flagging these posts for Facebook. So they send these emails.
Y'all hear that? You see the walkout? You see the slide out the back door? I didn't say I took the money. However, I convinced the ignorant person to steal all the money. I threaten the person to steal the money. So technically you stole the money. So just because you're saying, well, I didn't actually steal the money, I just strongly looked at my friend and said, hey, man, if I was you, I'd go over there and take that money. I'm just saying, you know. So when the person takes the money, then all of a sudden you're going, hey, I didn't take the money. Or did you? You got the same results. So that's what they're trying to do now. Now that they're busted. Oh, but y'all, that's just a scratch. Wait until you really see what they was doing.
Over, and they say we're not actually doing the censoring, but we've gone through the Twitter files here. We've gone through all the documents. We know exactly what they were doing, is using the big, disgusting, stinking boot of the federal government and putting it down on the necks of these companies.
But wait a minute. If I don't know that, which is having that knowledge, I'm walking around ignorant. If I don't know this in detail, I'm walking around saying all of these radicals are upset, these extremists, because they're claiming that Twitter and all of them are against them and all the conspiracy theory. That's what all of that is. See, this is what lack of knowledge gets you. You don't realize these people been doing this. And then all they do is come out and say the people who's telling you that this stuff is going on are all crazy. They're white nationalists.
Government can't excuse themselves by saying, well, we didn't actually press the button. And this was the type of stuff that I think was very consequential. Every time an anti-Biden, an anti-narrative person, a so-called white supremacist or somebody that they disfavor speaks against them and they're able to shut them up and remove them or demonetize them or deplatform them, that is a win in their favor. It's like going around during an election, pulling out all of the yard signs for your opposing candidate.
That is so true.
Is literally taking real estate, digital real estate away from them. It is suppressing the effort, suppressing the narrative, and it was being done with the backing of the entire U.S. government.
So wait a minute, though. Hold on. They said they only do this just to make sure that the people are safe and all of that stuff. But for whatever reason, all of this trying to make the people safe only impacts conservatives' ideas, views, and opinions. Isn't that odd? So who are they really trying to protect? They're trying to protect their voting base from us telling them what's going on or giving them a different opinion or different view or exposing these people's hypocrisy. So they're really trying to protect them from the knowledge that we might be on the internet spreading. That's what it comes down to. But they'll never say that. We're just trying to make sure that the Mexican cartels don't be spreading this and misinformation. And Russia. Oh, did we say that already? The Russians. Something about the Russians. They're always up to stuff. We got to make sure that we keep an eye on them. See, so that's their excuse. We're looking out for public safety.
It's one of the most. Now, the media love it. And so they're going to be upset about this. In fact, they say this is insane. America's going to die instantly because we can't censor people. But
now, any media that would say that, any media that would get mad over this judge's ruling is not a media at all. They're owned by the same folks who's doing the censoring. You see that connection? Bam, just dropped it on you. You cannot tell me you're a legitimate anchor, you're a legitimate reporter, you're a legitimate whatever, and here you are coming out mad at what you're about to hear.
But the judge chronicles all of the problems that we saw.
Well, lay it on me, man.
What the opinion said. And so what we're going to do here today is try to hit the highlights, talk about what the FBI was doing, see what the CDC was doing, see what some of the White House was doing, and then fast forward through the rest of it until we see what the ultimate conclusion was. Now, all of the defendants are here. We're going to see everybody. All right. Guess who's on the list? Joe Biden in particular. So if the injunction is issued against them, all of these people theoretically are going to be bound, presuming that is the outcome once we read through this.
Read them.
Look at all these names.
Let's see.
Joe Biden, Karine Jean-Pierre, Vivek Murthy, not Ramaswamy, Xavier Becerra, Health and Human Services, Klaus, NIAID. We've got Mayorkas from Homeland. CDC's on the list. Commerce, Rob Flaherty, which was somebody we spent a lot of time listening to him whine to Twitter about disinformation. Lots of him. We have U.S. election assistants, FBI, people from the FBI. They're all on the list, right? All named as defendants. And so if they lose this order or parts of this order, lose this injunction, then that injunction is going to apply to them. So
do you hear all these people trying to gang up on us, y'all? They was trying to jump us. They were sitting back, man. They had put their knuckles in all of these institutions and say, you know what? Let's plant our big fat moles in these powerful institutions so that when we all gather around and have our little meetings, it's all right, here's your institution. What all you want the people to know and don't know? Okay, good. All right, you're the key person. I want you talking to Twitter. All right, let's go to another part of the government. What do you guys do again? We're over the environmental fish situation. Okay, cool. So you can get your agenda passed. We're gonna let you all in on these censorship meetings too. So anybody who talks against fish having the rights to indigenous lands, we'll just go ahead and censor them too. Anybody else want in on this? They pretty much opened up for every government agency to participate in pushing whatever they want or silencing people who disagree with it. This is a whole heap of folks that's mentioned. Let's
Judge
continue.
says, all right, the court heard oral arguments on this motion on May 26, and here's what I have to say to you.
What?
A quote from Evelyn Beatrice Hill, 1906, from the Friends of Voltaire says, I may disapprove of what you say,
Right.
but I would defend to the death your right to say it.
There you go. And that's the difference between conservatives and liberals. That's the difference between Republicans, most Republicans, unless you're a rhino, or Democrats. Democrats would disapprove of what you have to say and will not defend your right to say it. There you go. In fact, they'll say you don't have the right to say it. Whereas me, that's why we don't worry about censorship. That's why conservatives don't care what you say. We just disagree and say you're stupid, or we just go ahead and put some facts out there for you. But we don't need to come up with definitions like mis and disinformation. We let our argument stand. That's it. Now, if we are wrong, you apologize. Say, I got that one wrong, man. My bad. However, what you don't say is, I don't even want to know if I got it wrong, because I'm going to shut you up so you can't tell me anything, period. Because we don't roll like that. So we don't have a need for dis or misinformation, because we have no intention on using that to silence or control speech. So anybody who would come up with some definition or term like dis and misinformation, they started that term with evil intentions, to use that term to control information. Let's continue.
The explosion of social media platforms has resulted in unique free speech issues. This is especially true in light of the pandemic. If the allegations made by the states and the people are true, the present case arguably involves the most massive attack against free speech in the United States' history.
Woo-wee! So now remember in CNN, they start off like, this judge, he said that this is the most massive attack on freedom of speech in U.S. history. Like, almost, come on, what does this guy think? What kind of judge would say that? After you hear all of this, you'll say it too. You'll say it too. And the reason it's the most massive, because guess what? No other time in our history that we had the ability to communicate all over the world. So they have to police all of the conversation that goes all over the world. That means it is the most massive attempt to control free speech in the world, in the history of the world. Back in the day, they could silence one person in Michigan, but that person couldn't get online and spread that thought all over the place. So you're right. And the lady for CNN she was upset about the judge saying this, y'all. But after you hear this, you'll agree with the judge.
In their attempts to suppress alleged disinformation, the federal government, and particularly the defendants named here, are alleged to have blatantly ignored the First Amendment's right to free speech. Although the censorship alleged in this case, says the judge, almost exclusively targeted conservative speech, the issue raised here goes beyond party lines. The right to free speech is not a member of any political party and does not hold any political ideology. It is the purpose of the free speech clause of the First Amendment to preserve an uninhibited marketplace of ideas in which truth will ultimately prevail, rather than to countenance monopolization of the market, whether it be by the government itself or private licensee. The state...
What? Now you hear this judge dropping knowledge? That's right. The judge is dropping it like it's hot. So now he's saying it's odd that the complainants are looking at this and saying, how many of these folks were liberals that got removed? How many of these government agencies was going after the mindless, mind-controlled people who were parroting their talking points? They didn't make the list. They didn't make the cuts. See, they weren't going after them. How many of these agencies were going after all of the weak, non-funny liberals who don't know how to meme, don't know how to do parodies, don't know how to be funny, don't know how to joke? How many of these agencies were requesting that these folks stop joking about Donald Trump or making fun of whomever? They weren't doing that to them. They weren't trying to suggest that they get their stuff snatched down. So you're telling me, Judge, that almost all of the censorship seemed to mysteriously impact conservative views or ideas. Go figure. But I thought under the comment and response from the government that no, we're just here for the people, But all of that censorship seemed to only impact us.
And the people claim that through public pressure campaigns, private meetings, and other forms of direct communication about things that the government called disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation, which just came out of nowhere. They say that all of this was done and have colluded with and coerced social media to suppress disfavored speakers, viewpoints, and content on their platform.
What? Favored speakers, viewpoints, and content on their platform. So in other words, guys, because we make more sense than them, because we probably would have a better argument and more success at opening up the minds to the mindless, then what they do is we don't want that to spread. We can't have that. We need to suppress this mess. We know that if they get off of Kev's back on YouTube, I'd have 1 million subscribers by now, maybe more. We can't let him grow like that. Soon as we caught wind that this dude might be influential and people might listen to him, let's shut that mess down at 211,000. No matter of fact, start taking them backwards. Taking him backwards. Yeah, let's go ahead and take those views from being 1, 2, 300,000 a video to maybe 2,000, 3,000. Then when he calls in and says, what's going on with that? Say, I don't know, man. I guess people stop watching. Have no idea. And they want us to believe that. They know that we make more sense and we have great influence, but they can't allow that to get out. So they go after your Tucker Carlsons. They go after anybody who seemed like they might have some type of influence.
The people also allege that the suppression constitutes government action and that it's a violation of the free speech protection under the Constitution. Because the First Amendment states the following: Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
Now, we got so many Americans that don't even know that. That's why when they hear the Democrats come out and start talking about January 6th and all of that, and we're going to track down these people and all of this, and, you know, we need to be more diligent making sure that these radicals online don't. When they hear that, it doesn't even sound off an alarm in their head that these people are going after freedom of speech. In their mind, because they don't know that, they're thinking they're just going after radicals, white nationalists, extremists, Trump supporters. Not realizing that they're going after the very freedom of speech that will cover them if they decide to just become either red-pilled or disagree with Trump and their kids or something.
The principal function of free speech under our government is to invite dispute. It may indeed best serve its high purpose when it induces a condition of unrest. Speech is supposed to do that when it creates dissatisfaction with conditions, or when it even stirs people to anger. Freedom of speech and press is indispensable, and it's a condition nearly of every other form of freedom. In other words, without free speech, everything else fails.
Bam! And they know that. They know without free speech, they can unravel our society. Without free speech, they can dismantle anybody who resists this garbage that they're pushing. They could do that. And that is why that is their number one priority. Get control of speech, because if we control speech, we control, guess what else? Knowledge. And if the people, somebody just dropped it in there, knowledge. If we control speech, we control what you know or don't know. Once we control what you know or don't know, if you're ignorant and not curious and suspicious about what we are feeding you, then what you won't do is apply wisdom. You will take that knowledge that we're giving you, and either it will be useless to you and we'll keep you in a vegetated state, going through life, okay, yes, I will comply, or else we'll turn you into a radical. We'll use all of that useless knowledge for you to go out and start tearing up stuff and protesting and wasting your time and taking off work to go down there and put your feelings on some sign and walk around all day talking about we are on our rights, not realizing that you got all your rights. Unreal. So I like what this guy's saying, y'all. Let's continue hearing about what the judge had to say.
George Washington said this in 1783. He said, "For if men are to be precluded from offering their sentiments on a matter, which may involve the most serious and alarming consequences, that can invite the consideration of mankind, reason is of no use to us. The freedom of speech may be taken away, and dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to the slaughter." Benjamin.
Hey, I just said something like that. This judge is putting it all in there. That dude right there is throwing the icing on top of the cake. So what you're saying is he's quoting Judge Washington, and he's talking about, yo, you shut up speech, you will lead people straight to the slaughter, and they'll have no idea. If you control what folks know, then that gives you all the power. My one thing, my pastor and my church in general, always say, you guys need to read the Bible for yourself. Because if only the preacher knows the scriptures and you're relying just on him, what happens if he has a brain fart? What happens if he wants a new Cadillac and he can't get it, so he comes up with a new scripture talking about in the book of Cadillac, the Bible says, thou shalt put your nickels and pennies together to bless your pastor with a Cadillac. God told me last night. If you don't know that, you'll be going, all right, anybody read the book of Cadillac? So let's go ahead and give him some money. You got to know for yourself. So that's what George Washington has said, or else you'll be led like lambs to the slaughter.
Franklin said in the Letters of Silence, Dogwood, whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the free acts of speech.
Ooh. Now, I wonder, did that punch every Democrat right in their snophagus? I wonder if that right there, all the people who's walking around and in their head, they're okay with the Democrats and all of them trying to control speech because they think it's only directed towards extremist white nationalists. I wonder if they recognize that, yeah, if we're going to take over a whole country and subdue them and implement tyranny, first thing we got to do is get hold of speech. Every dictator does it. Now, isn't that funny how they thought Trump was a dictator? He's going to come in and take over the whole country. And the man was a adamant believer and supporter of the First and Second Amendment. What kind of dictator is that? If that was true, then you know who would be upset about it, y'all. Man, I tell you, I don't even know where they at. Oh, man, I must have put them somewhere. Y'all, I messed around and lost Bob's teeth. Man, how am I going to be Bob without the teeth? Anyway, I'll find them later. But my point is, that right there breaks every dictator rule. Trump must have not graduated from dictator school. He must have been, I flunked it, I slept through it. My bad, guys. First thing I did is got in there and told him, say what you want to say and keep your guns. My fault. I don't know what I was thinking in Dictatorship 101. However, there is a group of people who wants control of speech and also wants to get rid of guns. The Democrats. Isn't that odd? Let's continue.
Thomas Jefferson said, reason and free inquiry are the only effectual agents against error. Thomas Jefferson. The judge says the question does not concern whether speech is conservative, whether it's moderate, liberal, progressive, or somewhere in between. What matters is that Americans, despite their views, will not be censored or suppressed by the government. Other than well-known exceptions to the free speech clause, all political views and content are protected speech. The issue...
Ooh, so wait, where's the CNN guy? Call him back in the room, please. All right, I'm feeling smarter and smarter as this judge. As I read this show, I'm becoming more smarter. All this knowledge is making me have to wear glasses. So let me understand, Your Honor. You're telling me that all of our speech is protected. Political views, content, free speech, all of that is protected? That's what you're telling me, Your Honor? Please continue to school me.
Issues presented to this court are important and deeply intertwined in the daily lives of citizens around this country. The states and the people allege that the government and the Biden administration suppressed conservative-leaning free speech. A couple examples here.
Wait a minute. Prove it. Mister, as you're reading all of this stuff from that white nationalist judge who made this decision, who's all supporting the MAGA folks and all those Trump supporters and stuff, prove it. Well, here's the examples that the judge is going to give us. So give us some examples, Judge, that the CNN guy didn't mention.
9 of them. 1, the Hunter Biden laptop story prior to the 2020 election. Suppressing speech about the lab leak theory of the bid. 3, suppressing speech about the efficiency of masks and the lockdowns. Suppressing speech about the efficiency of the jabs. Whoa. Suppressing speech about 2020 and the presidential election. And we got strikes for both of them.
Me too.
We got medical misinformation, strikes, and election misinformation, strikes. Suppressing speech about the security of voting by mail. Suppressing parody contents about the Biden
jokes.
People. They didn't like when you just made fun of them. And
hold up. That just ruins my whole career, y'all. If they don't want folks making fun of people, then there goes Nancy Pelosi impression while she sips on her vodka. I'm done. My Joe Biden impressions, no, don't know nothing. All gone. All my impressions are gone. We can't make jokes about them. Can't call her crooked no more. So we are even down to the point now. That sounds pretty dictatorish. Because right now, go over to North Korea and joke on Kim Jong-un. Oh, he's so fat. And see what happens. So you see, the left have no sense of humor. You can't make jokes about race. Can't make jokes about fat, skinny people, tall, short, black, white, whatever. You can't make those jokes, okay? They don't have a sense of humor. They can't take parodies. So you're telling me I think we were on 6 or 7? Wow, they was trying to silence parodies? What else?
Suppressing negative posts about the economy and suppressing negative posts about Joe Biden himself, the president. They say,
what? You couldn't even talk about, now that sounds like Saddam Hussein. Don't talk about me. Okay, I don't want you joking about me falling or up or down the steps. Don't talk about me falling off the bike, standing still. Don't talk about me with my bad English talking about Turner National Depression, isolating punish China, Community College. Don't do it. Get them off the internet. But you're just saying this, Judge. I need examples. Because this is pretty hard to believe that they were after all of that, y'all.
that other plaintiffs are epidemiologists. They allege they were censored by Twitter on several occasions. And YouTube made a removal about a discussion about the face masks.
Wait a minute. Are people at YouTube epidemiologists? Do they have an epidemiologist division in YouTube? How could the people at YouTube challenge these professionals? How did they know what these epidemiologists, what they were saying was not true? That right there is amazing. That means they had to rely on some other source to silence those epidemiologists. That means that one source of information told YouTube, take them off because they're lying or they're messing up our narrative. So YouTube decide, forget what these professionals know and say. We're going to go ahead and rely on one group of people who told us to shut them up.
Jill Hines is another co-director. She had her stuff removed. Facebook took away posts January 2022 for sharing actual data from Pfizer. She said that because of censorship, the reach of her post dropped from 1.4 million down to 98,000.
What? No wonder my numbers went down, y'all. They call that shadow banning. So you're telling me then that this woman's reach went from 1.4 million to 98,000. Oh, wow. And these were all professionals. Interesting. So let's continue. Y'all see? But a lot of people don't know this went on. They just went out there and stuck them things right up there. They went out and said, give me this. While all these other professionals were weighing in. Now, guess what happened? Lack of knowledge make you look stupid. That's why I still get to laugh at people walking around in the store with that mess on. That's why I'm still cracking up every time I see somebody riding in their car with it on. Yeah, sticking it on their kids. I'm going, you're ignorant. Lack of knowledge. I feel like old school. I like you, man, but you're crazy. You're crazy, man. I feel like that. Every time I see people walking around with that, I go, lack of knowledge. So ignorant.
Okay, this stuff really matters. It adds up big time. How can you win in the arena of ideas if they don't let your ideas enter the arena?
That's the
Dr.
goal.
Cariotti is a psychiatrist. He got censored on Twitter and LinkedIn. Jim Hoff, Gateway Pundit, he had his account censored. We have more. There were suspensions that he suffered, and he was permanently removed from Twitter. Why? Because he was challenging Fauci.
You can't challenge Fauci. You can't challenge Fibo the Mouse. You can't challenge Jimmy the Cricket. You can't challenge Tattoo. You can't. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to joke about Dr. Funky Fauci because they might go ahead and censor me. So there's no need to wear a mask. They might block a duop little here, but you can't do that, guys. So these psychiatrists and other professionals challenged him and were permanently banned from Twitter. So Twitter must have a division of psychologists over there that was able to determine that this man's challenge was incorrect. That's what it is. They got pathologists and stuff over there at Twitter working.
Twitter issued the permanent ban on the Gateway Pundit after they posted footage. And YouTube started doing the same thing. So there were numerous individuals here who made up the subject of this censorship attack onslaught. But now...
So now we're about to find out all of the actors, all of the people who were participating in the censor party. Everybody come to the White House. We're having a censor party tonight. So all of these folks came to the censor party, and many of them we didn't even know was at the party, y'all. And this is what I mean. by knowing things. I'm glad this judge broke this mess down in detail about all the evil things that was taking place. So that when we hear the stupid man from CNN say, this judge overstepped his boundaries. No, he didn't. You're trying to stop us from knowing all the stuff these people were up to. So let's hear who all was at the censor party, because it was some names on this list you might have not even heard of. So let's do it. Here we go.
Now he's talking about the White House defendants, the people who were responsible for a lot of this censorship. On January 23rd, just 3 days after Joe took office, somebody named Clark Humphrey, who was at the time the digital director for COVID, the response team, he emailed Twitter, walks into office 3 days, emails Twitter, says, I want a removal of a tweet by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They requested the removal of his tweet. Humphrey sent a copy of that email to Rob Flaherty. He was the director of digital strategy. And he said on the email, if we can keep an eye out for tweets that fall in this same genre, let me know.
Wait a minute. That sounds like censorship. That doesn't sound like we're just trying to look out for that man said, I want this mess removed. Now, we're not talking about Yeoman Johnson down the street that works at Kenny's Shoes. We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy, who is now running for president. And yet somebody from the White House reached out to Twitter and said, I want this stuff taken down. That right there is straight up Saddam Hussein type stuff. I don't want to hear these Democrats or anybody in this current administration say one thing about democracy. They need to get us out of Ukraine right now and get all our money back and get all the weapons back and all that. We want a refund on all of that crap right now, because the same folks talking about we're over there trying to help them keep their democracy. No, you're not. Why, you're over here destroying ours by trying to silence Robert F. Kennedy and sneaking behind everybody's back, going on all of these social media platforms saying, remove this one. Anybody else? You got somebody you want removed? Anybody else got anybody they want removed? So those people that's talking about democracy, and yet they were up to this. What else they do, y'all?
The email said, hey, folks, wanted to flag the below tweet from Robert F. Kennedy. And I'm wondering if we can get moving on the process of having it removed ASAP.
Now, that doesn't sound like a suggestion. See, because remember, now that they done got busted, they're trying to tell everybody, no, we didn't tell people to take stuff down. We just was making healthy suggestions. That sounds like take that mess down. That's what that sounds like. But let's go ahead and see, because there got to be more evidence for the judge to make such a strong ruling.
It's literal censorship of political speech, and it's being directed by the White House. Now, the White House is going to say, but we didn't do it, though. They just coerced Twitter into doing it. February 6th, Flaherty, the same guy, requested Twitter to remove a parody account linked to Finnegan Biden, Hunter Biden's daughter, and President Biden's granddaughter. Says, cannot stress the degree to which this needs to be resolved immediately.
Immediately! I wonder what that word means, guys. Does that mean, if you want to? I wonder if that can be resolved immediately. So let me get this straight. You're not allowed to make fun of your political leaders and stuff no more. There goes late night TV, all of that stuff. So somebody had a parody account up with, I guess, President Biden's granddaughter, who he doesn't acknowledge. And their response was, I can't stress enough of how much this thing needs to come down immediately. Is that in interest of national security? Are they trying to stop a terrorist? Let's see.
Please remove this account immediately. Twitter suspended the parody account within 45 minutes of his request. On February 7th, Twitter sent Flaherty a partner support portal. Facebook also emailed Flaherty to explain how it recently ended its COVID policy. Flaherty responded saying that Facebook is being dubious and has provably false claims, and he demanded more information on Facebook's policy. He also said he followed up, accusing Facebook of causing political violence. All right? How do you like that if that's your company? That is authoritarian, totalitarian nonsense to have the government coming in and telling private businesses what to do. But
y'all hear that? But remember, guys, the man from CNN just complained about the judge wanting to micromanage. But yet these people up here talking about Facebook, I got some questions about your policies and your COVID policies. You know what? If you don't listen to us and do what we say, and that's like kind of political violence. This is political violence. How? Just like the left weaponizes everything is violent if you disagree with them. If you say anything to the nature of, I don't believe kids should, you know what, that's violence against them. If you say I disagree that men or women could just say, today I'm this or that, you know what, that's making them unexist. That right there is like the Holocaust. That's violence. If you disagree with me, it's violence. That's all it is. Now, what else did they say, y'all? Because remember, these are helpful suggestions.
Flaherty sending emails accusing them of political violence. That's like a criminal allegation, and like incitement to violence. Facebook responded and stated, vaccine skeptical content does not violate Facebook's policies.
Ooh.
However, they stated that we're going to reduce the distribution and add warning labels so fewer people will see it.
So fewer people would see it. So what is that called?
Censored. Courtesy.
Censored. There you go. So Facebook tries to throw it back, I'm going to fight back a little bit. But at the end of the day, I know your suggestions aren't suggestions. I'm going to tell you, though, that ain't a part of our policies. I'm going to let you know that just to cover our back. However, what we're going to do is meet you halfway by powering down the reach. Thus, I can't shut up Kevin from Kevin's Corner, but what I can do is suppress his reach. There you go.
Of the White House. Facebook also informed Flaherty, this is the judge writing, by the way. Facebook also informed Flaherty that it was working to censor content that does not violate Facebook's policies by preventing other posts that challenge the Biden narrative.
To challenge the Biden narrative. Posts that has nothing to do with COVID, none of this stuff. They were working hard to find posts that challenge the Biden narrative. Now, you see where this is going? Because the CNN, man, didn't tell everybody that. Lack of knowledge.
Facebook also was sending multiple emails to Flaherty about email schemes. Others at HHS, along with Flaherty, participated in Twitter meetings, saying that Twitter assured the White House that it would increase censorship of misleading information.
Whoa! Now, that's a direct quote. Twitter email. Here you go. Twitter would increase what? Censorship of misleading information. Wait a minute, y'all. You mean like Hunter Biden's laptop? You mean like that? You mean like all the things that we've been saying that turned out to be true, that the government called misinformation and misleading information? You mean like that stuff? It's interesting how it was misleading information when it was important to their narrative, and only to find out that it was true information, but the damage had been done. But yet they were just looking out for us. They were looking out for the people.
Twitter said, hey, thanks again for meeting with us. As we discussed, we're building what you want us to do to remove the most harmful, misleading information from our service. Senior Meta executive.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm hearing some disturbance in the background. It sounds like old man Teddy is trying to censor me. That's what that sounds like. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to attend to old man Teddy because it's probably around that time he needs to eat or whatever. So I'm going to go attend to him. All right. But boy, I'm feeling it right now. So this we gonna do. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna finish this, y'all. So stay tuned for part 2 because we need to know what they were up to, y'all. So let me take care of the old man and I will be back, maybe for 20, 30 minutes or whatever. So keep your ear to the street because we're gonna finish part 2 of this censorship mess. I need to know what they've been up to. So see y'all in about 20 or 30. God bless y'all. See y'all in a minute. Take care.